When I went into early labor and urgently needed to get to the hospital, my cruel mother-in-law refused to help. As I reached for my phone to call an ambulance, she snatched it from my hands and slapped me hard across the face. Then, without mercy, she pushed me out of the house. I fell to the ground, trembling in pain, and blacked out. But when I woke up moments later, what I saw left me completely shocked. Hello, my name is Amelia Thompson, and I am 32 years old. I work as a creative designer for a local publishing company, though right now I'm on maternity leave. My husband, Michael, and I live in a cozy house in the suburbs of New Haven. This home, filled with wedding photos, baby items, and pastel-colored walls, should have been my sanctuary. But instead, it often feels like a battleground. Michael's mother, Brenda, and his sister, Vanessa, live next door, and their presence has been a constant weight on my shoulders since the day I married into the family. They've never liked me, and they never tried to hide it. To them, I was just a designer, not a prestigious doctor or a lawyer like they had hoped for Michael's wife. Brenda would remind me of my shortcomings every chance she got, and Vanessa treated me like I was the reason her brother no longer prioritized her needs. The tension between us wasn't just occasional, it was unrelenting. Even the smallest things could trigger a harsh remark from Brenda. If I decorated the house a certain way, she would call it cheap taste. If I wore casual clothes instead of formal dresses, she would mock me for not representing the family properly. Vanessa, on the other hand, thrived on making me feel isolated. Every holiday dinner or family gathering became a stage for her snide comments and passive-aggressive digs. Now, with Michael leaving on a business trip 2 weeks before my due date, my anxiety was worse than ever. I tried to smile when he kissed me goodbye, telling him I'd be fine, but deep down, I wasn't sure I could handle another confrontation with his family. My neighbor, Mrs. Harper, had already warned me to be on guard. "Amelia," she said, her tone serious, "families like that can be dangerous. Keep your phone on you and record everything if you feel threatened." I had laughed it off back then, trying to convince myself that Brenda and Vanessa wouldn't cross certain boundaries. But tonight, those words echoed in my mind like a haunting prophecy. The evening passed slowly, and I did my best to stay busy, organizing the nursery and folding tiny baby clothes. I couldn't help but picture Michael holding our baby for the first time. The thought made me smile, but it was short-lived. The emptiness of the house, and the knowledge that I was alone settled in my chest like a heavy weight. I was about to go to bed when I felt the first twinge of pain. It wasn't just a mild cramp. It felt sharper, deeper, as if my body was warning me that something was wrong. At first, I thought it was just another false alarm. I had experienced Braxton Hicks contractions before. But when I stood up, a sharp pain hit me again, and I felt something warm trickle down my leg. I froze, heart pounding, and looked down to see blood staining my nightgown. "No," I whispered, panic setting in. "It's too soon." I took a deep breath, trying to think clearly. My years of experience in design didn't prepare me for medical emergencies, but I knew enough to understand this wasn't normal. I grabbed my phone and tried calling Michael, but it went straight to voicemail. Desperation tightened its grip on me. I dialed an ambulance, but the line was busy, probably due to the weather affecting emergency services tonight. My mind raced. I couldn't just stand there, bleeding and waiting for someone to answer the phone. I needed help. Brenda and Vanessa were my last option. My legs trembled as I made my way to their door, holding my stomach with one hand and the phone in the other. The short distance felt like miles. I was drenched in sweat by the time I reached their porch. I rang the doorbell and pounded on the door, tears streaming down my face. "Brenda! Vanessa! Please, I need help." The porch light flicked on, and I heard footsteps approaching. The door swung open, revealing Brenda in a silk nightgown. Vanessa stood behind her, holding her phone like she was ready to record me for some twisted entertainment. Brenda's eyes scanned me, and instead of concern, I saw irritation. "What on earth is this nonsense, Amelia?" she said, folding her arms. "Why are you banging on my door at this hour?" "I'm bleeding," I gasped, leaning against the doorframe for support. "I need to go to the hospital." "Please call an ambulance," Brenda scoffed, her eyes cold and dismissive. You're overreacting. Aren't you supposed to know your own condition? You're the one carrying the baby. Vanessa smirked and lifted her phone, pointing it at me as if I were some pathetic spectacle for her social media. Look at you, Amelia. Just a designer, and you can't even handle pregnancy. I clutched my stomach, my vision blurring as another wave of pain shot through me. Please, I'm begging you. I don't have time. Brenda's expression hardened. You think you can just disrupt my night like this? I won't let you ruin Michael's career by creating a scene. Without warning, she slapped me across the face, the sharp sting sending me stumbling backward. My cheek burned, and before I could process it, she pushed me off the porch. I landed hard on the cold stone pathway, pain shooting through my back and abdomen. Vanessa's mocking laughter echoed behind me. You're pathetic, Amelia. Go deliver the baby yourself. I lay there, breathless and bleeding, as their front door slammed shut. My fingers fumbled for my phone, and through the haze of pain, I remembered Mrs. Harper's advice. With trembling hands, I opened the recording app and pressed start. I had no strength left to get up. All I could do was lie there, hoping someone would find me before it was too late. I don't know how long I lay there, but the cool night air was seeping into my skin, making me shiver. The cold stone beneath me felt like ice, and the pain in my abdomen was becoming unbearable. I tried to stay awake, but my body was giving up. The weight of exhaustion pressed down on me, pulling me toward unconsciousness. My mind was a fog of fear and desperation. Just when I thought this was the end, I heard the faint sound of footsteps approaching. Someone was running toward me. The familiar voice of Mrs. Harper broke through my daze. "Oh my God, Amelia! Stay with me," she cried, crouching beside me. Her warm hands gripped my shoulder gently, but firmly, trying to keep me conscious. "I'm calling an ambulance right now." I heard her voice, but it felt like it was coming from a distance. Her hands shook as she dialed 911, giving the emergency operator our location. "There's heavy bleeding, and she's unconscious. Hurry." Her voice cracked, but she never let go of me. "Amelia, don't close your eyes. Help is coming," she pleaded, stroking my hair like a mother comforting her child. I wanted to respond, to tell her I was trying, but my lips wouldn't move. The pain was too much, and darkness crept further into my vision until everything went black. When I woke up, bright lights blinded me, and the sterile smell of disinfectant filled the air. Machines beeped steadily around me, and a soft blanket covered my body. I blinked a few times until the image of a nurse came into focus. Her kind face hovered over me, checking the fork connected to my arm. "You're awake," she said softly. "Don't try to move too much. You've been through a lot." "My baby," I whispered, the words barely escaping my lips. Panic surged through me, gripping my chest like a vice. The nurse placed a reassuring hand on mine. "The baby is fine," she said with a warm smile. "We performed an emergency C-section. You have a healthy baby girl. She's in the neonatal unit for observation, but her condition is stable." Relief flooded through me, and tears streamed down my face as I absorbed her words. My baby girl was alive. After everything, she had made it. I closed my eyes, thanking every force in the universe for sparing her life. The door to my room creaked open, and a man in a police uniform stepped inside. He was tall, with a serious but compassionate expression. He introduced himself as Detective Harris and sat by my bedside. "We've already reviewed some of the evidence, Mrs. Thompson," he began, his voice calm but firm. "We found your phone on the scene, and the recording you made is very important to the case." He placed my phone, sealed in an evidence bag, on the bedside table. The recording captured everything: Brenda and Vanessa's refusal to help, the slap, the fall, and your cries for help. "It's strong enough to build a case against them." Mrs. Harper appeared at the door, her face pale but relieved. "I was worried sick about you," she said, taking my hand in hers. "I stayed here all night, just to make sure you were okay." My throat tightened with emotion. "You saved me." "No, Amelia, you saved yourself by recording what happened," Mrs. Harper replied with a gentle smile. "Brenda and Vanessa will pay for this." Mark my words. The detective nodded. We've already taken them into custody. Both women are being charged with criminal negligence, aiding assault, and endangering the life of a pregnant woman. His words hung in the air, a testament to the justice that was finally within reach. I let out a shaky breath, the weight of the trauma starting to lift from my chest. Thank you, I whispered, though the words didn't feel enough to express my gratitude. Just then, hurried footsteps echoed through the hallway. The door burst open, and there he was, Michael, still in his wrinkled suit from the business trip, his tie loosened, and his eyes filled with panic. His hair was disheveled, and the dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept. Amelia, he gasped, rushing to my bedside. His hand trembled as he gently touched my cheek, careful to avoid the bruised area where Brenda had slapped me. I came as soon as I could. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. His voice cracked as tears welled in his eyes. I managed a faint smile. We're okay. The baby's okay. Michael leaned in, resting his forehead against mine. His breath was shaky, and I felt his tears mix with mine. I didn't protect you. I should have been here. Detective Harris cleared his throat, breaking the emotional moment. Mr. Thompson, I think it's important for you to hear the full recording of what happened that night. He placed a small speaker on the bedside table and pressed play. The room filled with the haunting sounds of my desperate pleas, Brenda's cold dismissal, Vanessa's mocking laughter, and the sharp slap that sent me to the ground. Michael's grip on my hand tightened as the recording continued. His knuckles turned white, and tears streamed down his face when he heard me begging for help. When the audio ended, the silence in the room was suffocating. Michael's head hung low, and for a moment, he didn't move. But then, his shoulders straightened, and a look of fierce determination replaced the sadness in his eyes. They did this to you, he said through gritted teeth. My own family. He turned to the detective. What happens now? Detective Harris remained calm but firm. We've already obtained confessions from both Brenda and Vanessa during questioning. Brenda admitted that she couldn't stand the idea of you having a child with Amelia, believing the baby would steal you away from her. Vanessa said she wanted to teach your wife a lesson for taking her brother's attention. Michael clenched his fists. They'll pay for this. Whatever it takes, I won't let them get away with it. They won't, Detective Harris assured him. Given the evidence we have, the recording, the medical reports, and their confessions, the prosecution is confident they'll face serious consequences. 2 weeks later, I found myself sitting in the courtroom, Michael's hand tightly gripping mine as we waited for the verdict. The air was heavy with anticipation. Reporters filled the back rows, their pens poised over notepads, waiting for the story that had captured public attention. Across the room, Brenda and Vanessa sat stiffly, their faces devoid of emotion but their eyes occasionally darting toward us. Brenda still wore her air of superiority, as though she believed she could talk her way out of this. But the evidence against her was overwhelming. The judge cleared his throat, and the courtroom fell silent. He began reading the charges: criminal negligence, aiding and abetting assault, and endangering the life of a pregnant woman. Brenda shifted in her seat, her fingers clenching the sides of the wooden bench as if bracing for impact. Vanessa sat motionless, staring straight ahead. Given the overwhelming evidence, including recorded audio and visual proof, as well as the defendant's confessions, the judge continued, "This court finds both Brenda Thompson and Vanessa Thompson guilty." There was a collective gasp from the courtroom audience. Brenda's expression finally cracked, and she covered her face with her hands. Vanessa, on the other hand, kept her composure, but her eyes betrayed the storm of emotions raging within her. The judge's voice was steady as he announced the sentences. Brenda, 3 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Her deliberate actions had almost cost 2 lives, and her punishment reflected the severity of her crime. Vanessa, 2 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and mandatory psychological counseling. The judge cited her lesser role and age as mitigating factors, but she wasn't walking away unscathed. The weight of the verdict settled over me like a warm blanket, bringing a sense of closure I hadn't realized I needed. As the officers led Brenda and Vanessa out in handcuffs, Brenda turned back, her eyes filled with hatred. But her glare had lost its power. She was no longer the woman who had pushed me to the ground and left me to suffer. She was just another criminal facing justice. I exhaled, leaning into Michael's shoulder as relief washed over me. "It's over," I whispered. Michael kissed the top of my head. "They can't hurt you, or our baby anymore." The smell of fresh coffee filled the kitchen as sunlight streamed through the large windows of our new home in Evergreen Hills. The cream-colored walls were decorated with family photos, and the laughter of our 1-year-old daughter, Ella, echoed through the house. She toddled around the living room, chasing her toy ball. Her giggles were like music to my ears, a reminder of how far we had come since that fateful night. "Lunchtime, Ella," I called, setting the table with a bowl of warm soup and her favorite mashed carrots. She giggled and stumbled her way toward me, her tiny arms reaching up. I scooped her into my arms and kissed her forehead, marveling at how strong and healthy she had become. Michael arrived home earlier than usual, his face lighting up when he saw us. "I'm home," he called, dropping his briefcase near the door and hurrying over to kiss both me and Ella. "How was work?" I asked, smiling. "Busy, but I couldn't wait to get back to you two." His job transfer to a local tech company had been the best decision we ever made. He now had a better work-life balance, and we were far away from the toxic environment of the past. "Oh, we got an email from Mrs. Harper," I said, holding up my phone. "She says she's proud of us and hopes our new life continues to shine brighter." Michael's eyes softened. "We owe her a lot. Without her help that night, things could have been much worse." I nodded, thinking about the strength it had taken to survive that night and the kindness of the woman who had saved me. "But we made it through," I said softly. We sat on the porch that evening, watching Ella play in the garden as the sun set over the hills. The scent of blooming flowers filled the air, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly at peace. The burden of fear and uncertainty that had once haunted me was gone, replaced by the warmth of a future filled with hope and love. "You know," I said, resting my head on Michael's shoulder, "I accepted the part-time design job I told you about. They're flexible with my schedule, and it's exactly the creative work I love." "That's amazing, Amelia," he said, kissing my forehead. "I'm so proud of you." Ella chased soap bubbles in the garden, her laughter filling the air. I watched her reach up to catch a bubble, and a smile spread across my face. We had come a long way, and I knew the road ahead would still have its challenges. But we were stronger now. Our little family had endured the storm and come out the other side. As I held Michael's hand and watched our daughter play, I realized that this was what happiness truly felt like: freedom from the shadows of the past and a life filled with new beginnings. Thank you for reading this emotional journey of resilience, justice, and new beginnings. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking, sharing, and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps us grow and reach more readers like you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories of courage and transformation. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support means the world to us.